Well, hello my friends, it's Shawn Petite and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Look at this cutie patootie. Oh my goodness, I just love this piece. It was so much fun. Here are the supplies that we'll be using for today's project. So I'm starting on a 12 by 12 MDF board, and I'm just gessoing, and I have a roller out and I've just rolled out my gesso. And now I'm just putting some medium gray paint down. And I grabbed, the first brayer I grabbed wasn't working. And really, honestly, both brayers did not make me happy completely. I just was getting all these really strange lines and I'm not exactly sure why. But I went with it and kind of smoothed things out. I put multiple layers on, and as I brayered and patted and brayered, it did smooth things out a bit, and I was okay with it because I knew that I was going to be putting a lot of layers on there anyway, and I really just kind of wanted a bit of gray in the background so that what I stenciled on was going to stand out. So I've got my roller back out again, and this is the Moroccan Tile 5 stencil, I think, and it's using a roller is a great way to get your design down fast. And I have on my desk a bucket of gesso that I have my roller in that I use a lot when I'm doing backgrounds. So it's just a quick and easy way to get your pattern down. I wanted this to be kind of messy, and I go back over it and kind of pat it dry a little bit just to kind of mute it down a bit. This is the Moroccan Tile 2 stencil, I think. And I'm overlapping my stenciling because I really wanted it to be a good mixture of both and just really pleasing to the eye, not having a specific plan in mind, but just making it pretty, basically. And I just use gesso. So I'm mixing up two different colors of teal and turquoise with some Americana glazing medium, and just giving myself a good glaze over all of this. And it almost was kind of hard to do because I loved how it looked just like it was, but I knew that I needed a contrasting color because I already knew that I was going to do my hearts in kind of a neutral gray brown color. And so you have to have that contrast for things to kind of stand out. And so I'm just doing the glaze over the top of all of this, and the texture on it is so wonderful. It just feels good with all that texture, and it's getting in the grooves and things like that. And the teal was really dark, and so I sprayed some alcohol on there and did some lifting of the teal that way. And it wasn't enough for me, so I'll come back over and do a little bit more. But I let it dry to see how it was going to work. I just sewed 3 pieces of copy paper, just regular old copy paper, just the fronts, and just sewed those out so that I could start making my collage papers for my hearts. And I just played and had fun and just really got lost in the process, and it was just perfect. It was exactly what I needed. I knew that I wanted it to be neutral, and I just was looking to try and make these fun and again pleasing to the eye, make them pretty in their own special grungy way. So I'm using that was the number stencil, and I'm using Liquitex spray paints throughout. I've got some raw umber now and some beige, and I'm just kind of going to town. Don't really have a plan. Just knew that I wanted them to have lots of layers. So now that I've got my initial layers down, I just grabbed some scrap pieces of vintage paper and kind of put them in areas that felt dull or didn't have much interest or something like that, but I wanted them to be spread out because I knew I was going to be cutting my hearts, and I randomly, and so I spread them out quite a bit so that I might get a bit of paper in each heart or something like that. And I used all different kinds. I had some vintage florals and different things like that. So I just grabbed a whole bunch of stuff from my stash and just started putting them down. And I use Liquitex fluid matte medium for that. Now I am going back over it with some gesso in my brayer to just kind of push it all back, to blend it all together, because I didn't want those papers looking like they just were stuck on there. So I just kind of toned everything down again and just kind of pulled it all together. Just kind of push it back a little bit. And at this point, I'm loving how it's looking, but I knew that I wanted a little bit more, and I wasn't sure what. I wanted it to be grungy and light, but I wasn't sure what else it needed, if I needed to add pattern or what it was at this point. So I'm still trying to, as I'm brayering, I'm kind of thinking my way through the process, like, should I add more pattern? And of course I did. So I just took my butterfly stencils and sprayed them with Liquitex spray paint, and this just made me happy, so happy. It was perfect, and it just kind of continued that layering process. And I'm telling you, the creating of the papers was so therapeutic. I just so needed it. And these butterfly stencils are perfect for this application of just spraying them and putting them down. It's just, they were gorgeous, just absolutely gorgeous. So it's so funny. So I, tone everything down, and then I throw down some real, bold marks, and which is typical of the layering process to get that right layer. And so once I get all the butterflies down, I'll come back again and tone it all down again. Oh my God, are you kidding me? So here's how I decided to tone it down. I wanted some type of floor. I wanted some softness and some beauty, and part of that beauty goes along with the meaning of the piece. And so I initially just sprayed the florals through, and I ended up liking the stamped part of it most. So I just got my paper back out and decided to stamp with it, which is one of my favorite things to do with my stencils. And the one thing to note is that I'm overlapping the images, the butterfly and the florals, to kind of bring them all together, and again to kind of tone some of that boldness of the butterflies down. And it was perfect. And the reason I kind of tied them together too is because I knew as I cut out my hearts, I would want parts of, all of them. So, and then I've got this wonderful background paper that I've been spraying on to use. A few marks here and there to just add some interest, because it shows up in those hearts as I cut them out. I drew out a heart and then cut out the inside of it, because I wanted that cutout to be able to look at, okay, this is the spot for this heart, because I could get parts, I could see all the parts, like, do I like that? Oh, I like that. And so I just did that all the way around, and I didn't end up using all 3 sheets. I just used 2 of them, which is to your benefit, because I scanned one and put it in the resource library for you to use on your projects. So now that I've got everything cut out, all my hearts, as I was looking at the background, it just felt too bold. And so I needed to tone it down some way, just a little bit, not a lot. So I am using some gesso on a piece of parchment paper and just kind of pressing. I call it my press paper technique, for lack of better words. And so I'll just continue to kind of do that over and over, and kind of just push that back a little bit. And it was working, but it wasn't quite as much as I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted, but I knew what I was doing wasn't doing it. And so I needed a little bit more to kind of tone that down. So I just grabbed some water on my brush and some gesso and just kind of went for it, and did a little bit of kind of a wash with my gesso and just kind of picked that up, and it was perfect. It was exactly the amount of kind of white and subtle kind of grunginess on there without taking away too much of the teal. So I'm going to put my hearts down with some matte gel because they're heavier and they've got all the layers on it. It needs that gel medium to hold those hearts down. It's a little bit thicker and it sticks it right into place. I did put my outside hearts down first, like one left and one right, and then I could kind of space out the hearts in between evenly. And I also kind of broke up some of the darker hearts with lighter hearts so that they weren't all, that they were kind of evenly spaced out. This paint here is called Liquid Metal, and it is one of the brightest golds I've ever used. It's fantastic. But I wanted to put some gold in each heart, and part of that is for the message. And I do hope you stick around for the message at the end. It's a good one about what I was needing and how the hearts came about. And then of course what the gold means as well. But all the supplies will be listed on the blog, and the link to the blog will be down below in the YouTube description box. Don't forget to grab your free collage sheet in the resource library. So now that I've got gold on every single heart, I'm going to do some shading. And I started out with my charcoal pencil, but there's so much texture on this piece that it was not moving. It was hard to shade. And so I tried the first couple, and then I went to my Stabilo All pencil. And that's always what I go to when there's too much texture and my charcoal pencil just won't move. I can get some really good shading in even some of the most difficult spots of texture. And so I will do my shading around all of the hearts with my Stabilo All pencil. And I'm not doing it real precise because I didn't want it, I wanted it to be kind of organic and not perfectly straight all the way around. So I kind of fan it out a little bit and give myself some artistic measure here around the hearts. I printed out my word on some tissue paper, and we'll put that down with my fluid matte medium. And that's about it, my friend. I'm going to shade around the edges, and that is it. Super fun, super easy. Thank you so much for joining me in today's project. If you liked it, subscribe and share and all those wonderful things, and I will see you next week. Well, hello, my loves, and happy Sunday to you. This was so much fun. The layers, the goodness, all the things. Oh my goodness. I played and had so much fun. And let me grab. So creating these collage papers was just pure joy for me. It just was. And once they were done, I was like, oh, they're so pretty. So I want to make some more. But this one, since I didn't end up using it, I will have available to you in the resource library for you to use however you would like. I thought that would be fun. I just positively love it. In fact, I want to do some more like this just like this for without anything else on it. So gorgeous. So all of the stencils that I used in today's project will be on sale this week. And then what has happened. So once you see this video, we would have had a YouTube hop, and I always record these in advance, so I'm always having to kind of predict what's happening or what will have happened by the time you see this video. So the current creative team and I did a YouTube hop using the Stars and Snowflakes stencil, and I love doing this because being able to see how everybody creates with the same stencil, it's just I'm always amazed and in awe of how everyone kind of interprets things a little differently. So but with the YouTube hop, if you comment, subscribe, like, all those things on each stop, you get a chance to win a free stencil of your choice from the shop. So that's always fun, and plus you just get to see some really great projects, quick and easy projects. So I hope that you will hop through and see everybody's project, and hopefully you'll get to maybe win a free stencil. And then coming up, so you will see this the weekend before Thanksgiving. The starting Sunday the 29th, I believe. It's the day before Cyber Monday. I'll be doing my last sale of the year, and it will be 20% off of everything in the shop except for totes, pillows, let's see, all the printed stuff. Those will not be on sale, but everything else will be. And it's a really great opportunity to, we're adding a bunch of overstock into the shop, and overstock is perfectly fine, no dings, no scratch, no clearance per se items. These were items that because we prep a long time in advance for our shows for the year. Well, we didn't have any shows this year, so we've got a lot of inventory. So these are overstock, and they're perfect for gifts. 4x4s, 4x6s, all the way up to all the different sizes. And there's a wide variety of things in the overstock section, and they're perfectly fine. They're what we would create to have in our shows, but we ended up not doing any shows this year, so we've got a lot of inventory. You'll be able to use the coupon, the 20% for the Cyber Monday sale on the overstock stuff, and they're already marked down, so you'd be getting some really, really great deals. Okay, and I think that's it. Anybody ordering outside of the U.S., shipping went down to like normal, and now that everything's being shut down again, shipping's taking a little bit longer. So if you're ordering Christmas stuff, order it fast. Okay, that's it. No more things to talk about except for this. So as I started putting my ideas together for this, and us coming up on Thanksgiving, of course I wanted to do something with gratitude or being grateful, because there's just so much to be grateful for, even in this crazy year. And Thanksgiving always gives us pause to reflect and be grateful, and I say Thanksgiving, that's for us in the U.S. We should be grateful every day of the year. I'll tell you that this year has been a challenging one to find gratitude some days, but it's always there. And my practice of doing my gratitude journaling pretty much every day is just the place for me to start to see. Because sometimes when we're stuck in the everyday stuff and doing all the things, and maybe you're doing remote learning, or you're teaching your kids from home, or you're working from home, or all the things that have happened within this year. It can be hard to stop for a second and realize that there are so many things that we have to be grateful for. Even in the hardest of days, there's at least one thing to be grateful for. So as I was prepping, as I was kind of thinking this through, it was a particularly hard day, and I wasn't feeling very grateful, let's just say that. And I just said, Lord, I need like 1,000 grateful hearts. Like, I just need I need so many reminders every day of being grateful. And then when I said out loud to myself, I need 1,000 grateful hearts, I was like, grateful hearts. And so that's why I did all the different hearts. And the reason I made the collage paper is because it was very representative of all the layers of life that we have to deal with, that we've had to deal with this year. Some messy, and some beautiful, and some kind of all over the place. And that was the meaning behind the collage paper, creating the collage papers, and including these the butterflies, and some beautiful pieces in there, because there is beauty in there. In all of the layers and all of the things, there's beauty in there. And those are the things that we need to be grateful for. And it could be as simple as creating, or a sunset, or a hug, or seeing your kids, or whatever it might be. So that was the meaning behind the collage papers. And then I added gold, because gold to me is always significant, is a significant thing. When I'm creating, it has meaning. And that gold is that gratitude. Sometimes it's just a few tiny little dots. And sometimes it's a big and bold thing. But if we can find that tiny bit of gratitude in our heart in the day, it really does change everything. It changes me. And some days it's harder work than others to find it, but it's there. And I am just incredibly grateful every day that I get to do what I love, and that I get to share it with you, and that hopefully I get to encourage and inspire you on your journey of life and creativity. And so I have 1,000 grateful hearts often, and then sometimes it feels like there's barely enough grateful hearts to make it through the day, but it's there if we take the time to look for it. And that's the issue. We don't get quiet enough to stop and really find the things that we're grateful for, and there are many. And that is it, my friends. Simple and sweet, like this project. I hope that if you celebrate Thanksgiving, that you are able to, if not be with family, because I know we were planning on going to see our daughter, and that's not going to happen. We're not going to be with any of our kids. I hope at least you can Skype or Zoom or FaceTime, and you can reach out and touch via technology the ones that you love, and that you can share moments of that thankfulness and gratefulness with them and with others, because that's really what it's all about, being together and sharing our gratitude for who we love and what we have. All right, my friends, I hope that you have a restful, peaceful Sunday, that you find your many, many grateful hearts, even if it's just a tiny little bit of gold. That great gratitude will make all the difference. All right, my loves, have a wonderful Sunday, and always, always know that you are loved.